There we go. And we're working. And we're live. Well, that was exciting and disappointing at the same time. Don't Third time's the charm, right? Yeah, I don't know what it is, but anyway, welcome to our live show. We continue to have challenges with pushing a button. Imagine that. Anyway, we are going to be talking bathrooms tonight, guys. So for everybody who's watching this not live, my name is Jeff from Home Renovision DIY. Running a cute little YouTube channel here and trying to help some homeowners out with their renovations. How's our audio sounding, guys? Is it like, do I still sound like Kermit the Frog, or is this microphone help me more like a Fozzie Bear? Yeah. All right, everybody's figuring out we're back. Cheers. Hello, hello, hello. My goodness. Yeah, it's really something. You know, we go through our thing. We get it all set up. It's all ready to roll. Seems like all it takes is 10 minutes of being prepped in advance, and then it all just goes to in a handcart, right? I'm more like a Fozzie. Okay, cool. I'll take the bear. Great. Cheers to Alaska. Wow. Bet it's cold there right now, huh? I mean, I complain about Ottawa, but I bet you guys are just like hugging the logs, living inside the fireplace. Yeah, I still sound like Kermit, but you put up with it, eh? That's nice. Very cool, guys. Well, listen, Tina Michelle is listening in her car. Wow. Neat. Look out! Just joking. All right, Tina, that was for you. We're going to do bathrooms tonight. I'm not doing a presentation, okay? So cheers to all the members that are showing up in the chat. There's Bruce. Oh, my goodness. All kinds of folks from all over the place jumping in. John's in the chat. John Singer. That's cool. Cheers, John. Listen, if you don't know about memberships, we got a lot of things going on with that, actually. And we're going to record this tonight and everything, eh? That's awesome. Yeah. All right. Wow. Look at us go. Getting all fancy schmancy. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Tonight's video is going to be very much like this. You're going to ask questions and I'm going to answer them to the best of my ability. Kind of like being deposed, I guess. Anyway, again, if you're a member, ask a question. If you're not a member and you want to get a question read, because this gets pretty busy at times, then use the super chat function. I mean, you can always ask a good question and we might get to it if you're lucky, but chances are, because of the subject matter tonight, that unless you're a member or you're in super chat, we're just not going to get a chance to see it because we're going to be busy. I don't want to just give yes and no answers. I'd like to give some information. We're going to be creating a series of short videos. You've probably seen one or two of them come out already. So this is my opportunity to answer questions that generally haven't been asked in a video or is great content, and I think we'd love to be able to put in a short format so that people can search specific questions and get an answer, and it'll be nice and short and sweet. I mean, there's a time and a place to watch a 3-hour movie about Jeff building a bathroom, but there is also a time and a place to just go, what do I do about this one specific little thing? So tonight, it's going to be about all them specific little things, all right? We're going to do our best. And if you're considering about doing a super chat, why not just consider joining the membership? Like, you get access to our forum. And soon, I know of announcements coming. We're going to have some new deals. We've got some new affiliates that we've been linking up with. And we're going to have some really cool stuff going on soon. Make sure that you hit the like button. Everybody, before you do anything else, let's all just go hit the like button, subscribe, join the membership program. Boom, boom, boom. And let's just jump right into this. Now, I don't care how old your bathroom is, what kind of condition it is. Are you in the planning phase? Are you currently sitting there watching this live stream with your thumb over the copper and the water is on? Whatever your situation is, we got the ability to help you out because I have seen it and done it all when it comes to bathrooms. Let me tell you, the nuts and bolts of my business for years was custom bathrooms. And I know bathrooms. No, I'm good. I know bathrooms like the back of my hand, the front of my hand, inside my hand. Yeah, here we go. Thoughts on using mass vinyl behind sheetrock for soundproofing? I love it. So that's what I've got in my office. Matthew and I installed it. We did a video on it. Yeah, it's frustrating, right? Because it's heavy, but man, does it work. The sound quality is phenomenal. If I could ever get this kind of quality internet feed, that's where I would shoot my live show. So the country house just doesn't have this kind of live feed. We can't upload in good quality sound and video. So we're here in the basement of a rental house using it like a studio. Not all of us, nobody can afford me anymore, Pat. I am unaffordable because I'm not doing that job anymore. I am renovating my own bathrooms to help you out, and that's all there is to it. As a matter of fact, I'm so committed to helping you all out that when we're done the house we're working on, the farmhouse, I'm going to buy another house. Yeah, that needs to be completely renovated. And we'll do this whole thing all over again with a completely different style of home. And hopefully that'll help out. Now, we have a question here. Okay. Jeff, I bought 2 pallets of Calcutta Quick Tile by Doll Tile for $200 on clearance. You ever installed click lock tile? And if so, any tips? Now, I'm not even sure what click lock tile is. Really? That's a thing? Let's do a Google search, Matt. Click lock tile. Okay. It's basically tile and okay. So it's a vinyl product. Great. Okay, we can go back to the video now. Because I definitely installed lots of vinyl tile. Vinyl plank. It's a lot like everything else, okay? The only secret you've got there is Calcutta is not a stone. It's actually going to be just a stone look, right? So when working with vinyl, you can use jigsaws, skill saws, and you can treat it just like you're cutting wood, all right? And install it just like you are any other tile. So you got to have clearance. You got to always be thinking about how you're going to lock and lay that joint down. So doorways are tricky. For amazing results, install a door after you're done. It's that tricky. Righty. I don't want to get too much into that, but it's basically vinyl tile, but it's cut and shaped like a 12 by 24 floor tile in most cases. All right. Colin Crum in the house. Welcome to the membership program I'm in. Yeah, lots of that going on. Matt just highlighted a question here from Melanie Rourke. She's a member, and she'd like to know what's the best way to do the plumbing for adding a floating vanity on an outside wall. Would it be easiest to build out the wall? Melanie, the exact answer is yes. The best way on an exterior wall. Now, this all depends where you live, right? If you get winter, definitely build a little 2x3 wall, a little wider than your vanity, okay? You got 2 things you can do there. One, you can put all your plumbing in it. You can run all your wiring in it. It's thick enough for electrical boxes as well, okay? Because it's 2.5 inches of wood. You can run your vent stack up through that as well. No problem. You can make it as strong as you need to hang the vanity. You can put 2x6 cross braces, right? Where you're going to be using your mounting hardware, right? So it's really quick and simple. The other advantage that you have is because it's now popped off the wall, it's a perfect place to tile because you have a defined edge. So you can tile right from the countertop to the ceiling, right? And it's an amazing look. It's a great opportunity to do something dramatic for a low budget too, because you're only doing the width of the vanity to the ceiling. And then you're hanging a mirror on it, maybe a couple of, maybe a couple of lights. I mean, who knows? So there's all kinds of design issues, but that really is the option. All right, Melanie, hope that helps you out. But I've done that many, many, many times. My daughter Christina's bathroom we just did on video, and that video is in Reality Renovision, our other channel. Make sure you go and check that out. There will be links in video descriptions of our videos, or you can just go type Reality Renovision, hit subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and you can watch our reality show behind the scenes of what we do when we renovate. And we did that in her bathroom as well. Now, let's go here. Mary Mary All, welcome to Money in the Bank membership. Shannon, welcome to the membership program. Now, we got another question down here. A little bit higher up, actually. P. Frangos. Should I put down mass vinyl as opposed to cork when installing my hardwood flooring? What are my thoughts on cork with acoustic soundproofing additives? It's more money versus regular cork. Okay, so here's the deal. When it comes to soundproofing, okay, you get what you pay for. There's no corners you can cut here, all right? Matter of fact, nothing on the marketplace is worth what you're paying for it. So you're actually just paying for performance. That's the easiest thing to think about. Now, when you're putting in hardwood flooring, you've also got a very thick floor. It's dense. It does a good job of soundproofing it already, but it's the impact noise that you got to deal with, right? So mass vinyl is perfect for that. So what you're doing is you're creating a better environment in the room that you're in. If you're using mass vinyl because you're going to protect the space underneath that hardwood floor, then go that extra step, all right, and insulate that space. Put insulation in that cavity. And I know that might mean you have to lift up the OSB subfloor before you put the hardwood down. That's okay, because it's probably not screwed down already anyway, unless it's a relatively newer house. So, just a thought. But if you're going to spend money on soundproofing and you're not insulating the cavity between one room and the next, you're really putting really good money after bad. Like, think about this. The majority of the work, the majority of the value you get when soundproofing is insulating the space and then using a 5/8 drywall as a finish cover. So don't try to solve a $100 problem with a $1,000 solution. I know it's a little extra time and money to drop a ceiling sometimes, but it's so much more effective, and it works. Where are we, Matt? I am already lost. Alan? Alan's got a question. Hey, Jeff from Whitby, Ontario. To update the tile in a 30-year-old bathroom, could I use Cara epoxy to regrout a floor like you did in your video? So you got a 30-year-old bathroom, and if you're thinking of using an epoxy grout so that you can kind of refresh it, yeah, you can. It actually works really good because a lot of old grout jobs are done by new home construction, and these guys are moving so fast, they make it a little wet. And so when it dries, it shrinks, it creates a void, right? And you can fill that void with epoxy just a little bit, and you can make a brand new surface. So make sure you buy a good quality epoxy grout float. And then when you're using it, hold it up on its side so that you're not gouging it out of that groove, okay? And you can leave it in the surface and get a great look. And yeah, and if it's got any deflection or the odd little bit of movement is cracked out a little bit, usually that epoxy solves that problem too. And it's a great way to make something work for a long time that's starting to fall apart. So cheers to Whitby. Hope that works for you. Okay, Trevor's got a question. Can I renovate everything and save the old window under its until it's warmer out? Okay, yeah. Or should I replace it before installing the new drywall, etc.? No, it makes no difference. If you want to leave your window in and do the whole room and then switch out the window in the spring, that's a great plan. Because the only thing that's left is the window, the jamb extension, and then the casing, right? So you can do the entire renovation and then do the window later. And you can even install the window jamb and the casing. Just don't caulk it and paint it, all right? Just throw a couple of brads in so it looks kind of pretty, so it doesn't look so dirty. And then you can tackle all that in the spring for sure. No hesitation at all, because if you're replacing the window, you're getting exactly the same size. So nothing else about that situation is changing. And if you find that it's an old window and you're getting maybe something a little smaller or resizing and things are a little bit weird, you can just get oversized casing to solve your problem. Because most casing in the world is 2 1/8 or 2.5 inch. And you can bump that up to 2 3/4 or 3 1/4 if you have to. There is no rule. The bigger the wood casing, the sexier the room. The only thing is, if you do that, you're committing to doing the rest of that same space. Like the whole flow of the house has to kind of line up. But definitely can do a window in the spring. I'm a big fan of having a punch list or a spring work list this time of year, right? You can leave a lot of work until the weather warms up. If you're in the northern climate, tackle it later. All right. So let's see. Aaron is asking, what is the best place to buy water fixtures? Okay, I've heard the major manufacturers have ones they specifically make for major retailers under the same model, but they be built to varying degrees of quality. Yes. Here is the deal. If you go to a commercial wholesale supplier, everything they sell there, for the most part, is brass. So your shower valves are brass. Your faucets for your kitchen and your bathroom are all brass, chrome plated, right? It's not just chrome paint on plastic. It's a really big difference in the quality. The stuff is designed to last 50 to 100 years, okay? If you install those fixtures, you're going to be very pleased with the result and the quality of the installation. And you're going to say, maybe you'll be walking through Home Depot one day and looking up at the plumbing going, oh, that's the same faucet that I bought at the other store. Wow, it's half price. But no, it's not, because you're right. It is going to be made out of plastic. All of these companies take their molds and they just run it through with different products. So they make plastic, everything. It's unbelievable. And these fixtures are designed to last a year or two. So you can take something that lasts 50 years, let's call it $300. And you can get it for 150 and it'll last 2 to 5 years. I'll let you decide what you think you need to do with that. But in my experience, most flippers shop at Home Depot. Most homeowners shouldn't. Enough said. Jeff in Woodstock, Ontario here. Wow, we got a lot of Ontario folks tonight. This is awesome. I have a roughed-in basement bathroom. Yep, with a walkout entrance. Nice. It's always good to get a house on a hill. House is built in 41. Wow. Is it worth it for me to finish that bathroom? It is an ensuite. Okay. Woodstock, Ontario, 1941. You know, here's the thing. You're living in that kind of zone. You got to find out from your real estate agent what the comparables are on your house. Like if you're thinking about renovating it because is it an investment or not? Check with your real estate agent, get comparables, and ask them, right? Because they'll be the ones who can tell you if there's value in adding that bathroom. Now, the other rule is this. If you're going to do it yourself and you're going to add a bathroom to your house, it always makes you money. It doesn't matter if you live on Mars. Your geography is irrelevant. More bathrooms means more money. Okay? There are very precious few people in this world who could add a bathroom to their house and not make money doing it if they did it themselves. Like 6 people, maybe. Like it's really hard to do. Okay? So just be mindful of your cost and your investment. And if it's an ensuite, well, all of a sudden your walkout basement is like a granny flat or a nanny flat. Like there's options there, right? For prospective home buyers. So definitely go for it. All right, James Headley. That's a great name. I love that. Shower has 50s pink tile. Mwah. Likely no waterproofing. Correct. No signs of mold that I can see. Do we take down the walls and waterproof to future-proof, or do you think it will continue to perform over the years? Wow. Okay, so there's a couple questions here first. Most 50s bathrooms have a custom floor assembly as well. Okay, and that floor assembly, if it was done properly, can last a long time because it's tile on concrete. Your walls are actually going to be concrete. So James, it's not tile on drywall. It's tile on concrete. So it's stone on stone. There's not a lot of organic material there to really cause you a problem. So they generally do tend to last. If you want to know how about future proof of that, like it's a 50s pink tile. Your first thought should be, man, this is ugly. If it was me in my house, I would actually hire a paint glazing company to come over and have them reglaze the entire shower and make it look brand new and white. And it'll last another 10, 15 years. And it adds a certain waterproofing permeability protection issue, okay? Because when you glaze something, it is a relatively non-permeable surface that you're adding. So if it's not cracking, then you got really the ability to make it look brand new instead of 50s pink and get another great 10 years out of it. And I use 10 just loosely to manage expectation, but you can get more than that. And then you can reglaze again if you want to. They're in and out of the house in an hour and a half or so. All you got to do is just remove whatever caulking is in the room. They'll walk you through the process. They'll show up with their special equipment, and the guy will walk in like Darth Vader, and he'll spray your bathroom, and he'll leave. And then you just got to go in there and add the silicone the next day. Done. Brand new bathroom. That's what I would do. And we got Darius Yang in the house. Hey, Jeff, should I put drywall on a side of a shower stall where it will be covered by the stall? Just put the stall in my unfinished bathroom, and I feel like it may be a nightmare to finish around it. Oh, you've got one of these like acrylic whole units. Yeah. So those acrylic units usually have like a nailing or screwing flange, and you do have to drywall over that. The secret is you take your drywall, and the back of the drywall, you want to take your Olfa knife, okay, and you want to just kind of shave off a little bit of the meat of the drywall so that it fits over top of that surface. All right, that's the only trick. That's all there is to it. Throw in a couple of drywall screws in that panel, and then fill it in with some 45, make it nice and clean, sand it, paint it, add a little bit of silicone when you're done. And a good waterproofing paint with a silicone on the outside of a tub surround like that or a shower surround, it'll last for like a long, long time. It's not a worry. That's how you do that. If you just put the drywall over it, it ends up breaking when you screw it in because you're forcing it tight and you're going to have nail pop issues. So just shave the back of the drywall, make it fit. Okay. Kit Lamoureux is in the house. Hey, Kit, answered your question today in the forum, and I am up to date. So if you asked a question in the forum, anybody, while we're talking about it, and it's not answered, I'm not looking that far back anymore. We finally got everything fixed and it's working well. So feel free to ask a question again if I've missed you, and I will spend time tomorrow catching up with everybody who puts questions in. Or you can ask tonight and we can solve that problem now. You got a heated floor in basement bathroom. Oh, no, you don't. You're asking if it's worth it or does concrete pull too much of the heat? Okay, so here's the thing. A basement bathroom is going to run you a couple of dollars a month for hydro, right? It's not that big of an issue. They don't use a lot of amps. A small basement bathroom especially is probably only going to use about 3 or 4 amps. And only when you want it working. Like if you leave it on all the time, then you're going to be like adding a small fridge to the house. So, you know, an extra $20. Is it worth it? You're damn right it's worth it. Especially if you're doing it yourself. Whenever you have that kind of a luxury, and then you go on the resale market, and especially in our market, for those of you who don't know, Kit lives here in Ottawa. We did a video where I went by and helped him with his back deck. It's on the other channel, Reality of Renovision. Make sure you check it out. Anyway, the point is this. Whenever you do a bathroom with a sexy upgrade like that, you are really leapfrogging your house into, oh, I'm just not another cheap basement bathroom, right? And basement bathrooms are so easy to run wiring and electrical to because it's all just right there. The panel's just a few feet away. Run a cable over. You can, for small bathroom space in our province, you can use a 14-2 wire. For most people in the States, they got to use 12-2. But you can use a 14-2 wire, run it to your thermostat, throw it on an arc fault breaker. No worries. All right? Piece of cake. Call the ESA, homeowner permit, and do all that yourself. And yeah, definitely worth doing. Definitely going to make you money. All right. Oh, Tegan Dairy is a question. I got a question. Can't find the answer to anywhere. Huh. Yes, you can. I need to level my tub. Back is full 1 inch lower than the drain end. Do I need to level it? And if so, how without pulling the tub out? Well, so the back of the tub is out of level. There are 2 things you want to do with a tub. One is you want to make sure it has good support so that it's not pulling off the wall when you fill it and you sit in it, so you're not breaking your silicone seal. 2, You want it level for aesthetics so that everything looks nice. Outside of the function, does it drain? I mean, if it's draining, and it will if the back end is raised up, if that's your only concern, is I don't want to have to lift my tub out to level it. Does it have to be level? There's no law that says it has to be leveled, but you are going to run into one issue, and that's this. The tub deck, most tubs, especially newer ones, are getting very flat. And so when you're out of level, you end up with water sitting along the edge where the silicone is, okay, from showers especially. So if you don't want to level it, you're fine. You don't have to. The only way to fix it, by the way, is to remove it. And then you're going to have to raise the one side and big sand bed. And you're going to have a gap. You're going to have to cover that. It's nasty. You got to redo your tile. There's a lot going on there. But if you're just going to leave it as is, don't panic. But when you have your showers, house rule, when you're done, take your towel, wipe that edge. If you leave water sitting there all the time, it will work its way in behind the tile because silicone does not stop water when it's sitting in it. It only diverts water to keep moving in a certain direction. If the water's sitting against the silicone, it'll lift it right off the tile and right off the tub. It'll start to infiltrate in behind the stone. It'll make whatever cement there soaking wet. And over time, that will end up drawing right up into the wall, and then the mold will come. So the reason we go level is to keep things from getting moldy. But if you don't want to deal with that mess, then you can just use a towel rule. All right, problem solved. Joe Steffler, member, got a question. The wife wants a new counter in the powder room. Well, then you damn well better get one. Any suggestions to replace a laminate counter that has edges right against wall on both sides? Are the quartz look alike to accomplish the same thing? Okay, so powder rooms are notoriously small. And generally they put in cabinets and then fillers on the cabinets to the wall and then just go laminate end to end. You can remove that laminate countertop, pop out the sink, use a Sawzall, cut the front, cut the back, and lift it out like this after cutting all the silicone. And you can actually just drop a brand new granite or quartz countertop right on there. You can go with a piece of wood. You can go with a bowl. You can change the sink and the taps. It's not tricky. But if you just want to go with a simple countertop and it has to be custom fit, then you can go with like a 3/4 inch quartz. It'll save you a ton of money. And then just drop that in there. And the quartz guy can come over and put up these little pins and pull out a laser machine, and he'll map exactly what fits. And so then they can cut it and cut the size for the hole, attach an undermount sink, and just drop it in for you. It's a piece of cake. You got to do your own plumbing with these people, though. They do not do plumbing. So they'll drop the sink in, but they will not connect the plumbing for you. So make sure you're prepared. If you're not going to do the plumbing yourself, you've got somebody on call who can come over and connect it all when you're done. Okay. And then your wife will be extremely happy. Stephen has a question. 1955 house. Looking at working on the first bathroom. Nice. How do I ensure that the bathroom floor I put in, underlay, etc., is not too thick to make for a bad transition to wood hall floors? Okay. A 1955 house is going to have a couple of challenges. One of them is most likely you're going to have 1x8 or 1x10 boards installed on a 45-degree angle, and they're going to be nailed down into a dimensional lumber floor joist. In a lot of cases, depending on the house, it may even be a floor joist that's not thick enough to support adding a tile floor. Okay. If it has tile in the bathroom now, it's probably sitting in a bed of cement. So that makes it really easy because you remove all of that bed of cement and then you've got lots of extra room. You probably have to build up your floor. But the secret is once you've screwed down those planks, okay, as long as it's 16-inch on center and you add a little bit of plywood, you can go with a Ditra mat. All right. But don't go Ditra over those old planks. I don't recommend it. I would at least like to see you add a 1/2 inch of plywood and then go to Ditra on those old planks. Or you could cut out all of those planks and just install a proper 3/4 inch subfloor and then go Ditra right on top of that. And that can help keep your whole assembly nice and thin. The trick here is knowing the end from the beginning. What makes a proper assembly? So if you're going to go on your floor joist with 3/4 OSB and then Ditra mat, you're fine. If you want to keep the tongue and groove keep those planks, because you might have to get involved with cutting the planks and then shoring up and blocking and gluing and screwing. It can be really intensive because depending how they built the house, right? The point is this, just think through it. You need 1.25 inches. You want an inch. Yeah, you need 1.25 inches of actual subfloor material, or you can cheat and go with 5/8 plus OSB. If your OSB is in good condition, it's screwed to the subfloor, screwed to the joist. Your joists are 16 inches apart and they are 2x10. If the joists are too thin or too far apart, you can't just cheat and drop that mat on there and expect it to perform miracles. So there are some tricks. So if you want to ask a question in the forum, you can take a picture once you've done your disassembly. Then I can give you an assistance in working out a new floor assembly to get back to the height you want. Because generally speaking, if you have real hardwood floors and they're 3/4 inch thick, you can reinstall in a bathroom to come flush with your tile, even if you add heat. So there are ways to do that, and I can help walk you through that process. That make a really good video one day, man. Okay, so we got some super chats here. Harry's asking me a question. He's got a 1960s bathroom with a leaky pipe. I can't locate. Oh, man. Any tips? 1960s home with leaky bath. Well, I guess the first question is, here's my process, Harry, for identifying leaks. Okay? Start with the obvious. First, the most common leak in a bathroom is a toilet or the overflow on the tub. Because the overflow on the tub dries out. And older tubs usually just had plumber's putty or some kind of seal gasket or some kind of gasket like that. And they dry and crack. And then when you finally use the tub, you can get an overflow event. So if it only leaks on rare occasions, just keep scheduling when it happens. It might be the tub. If it's leaking and the stain is growing every day, like just use a pencil and draw the stain out on the ceiling or whatever, and you'll see how fast it's growing. If it's growing every day, it's most likely the toilet, because the toilet has a seal that you can't see, but around that toilet flange, if you've broken the seal and there's water getting in and over the wax ring, it's a direct access to under the floor. No one ever seals that gap around the plumbing when they install a toilet. So if you do have water leaking, it's going to go in there. Sometimes if you have grout lines around the toilet, you can see the grout will discolor and go darker when it's wet. That can be a sign, but it doesn't always happen. You don't always have tile on the floor either. After that, the most common leak is in the shower, in the wall. There are a couple of joints usually that are threaded. Sometimes it's the tub connection in the wall is threaded, or definitely the shower arm is threaded. Okay. So if you've identified that it's not the toilet, and it could be the toilet and it leaks and it follows the pipe, right? And the pipe can go 6 or 8 feet and then it drips. This is the part of the problem. Sometimes the best way to find out where the leak is just open the ceiling underneath. Unfortunately, that's usually in a living space that nobody really wants to talk about. But by the time you see a plumbing leak, it's usually too late to try to save the ceiling. So feel free to open up and do some exploration, because water travels and it leaves stains, and it's easy to track it back. That's usually let's just cut to the chase. Looks like you're patching a ceiling, my friend. All right. Robert has got a question here. When are you going to start selling merch? I need a perfect every time coffee cup, so the next time someone complains about my coffee, I can point to the mug and say, can't be, just read the mug. Okay. Yeah, we're working on it. We're working on so many things right now as my head is spinning, to be honest with you. Merch it's an aspect of what we want to do on the channel, but it's not our focus right now. So unfortunately, it might be a little while longer. Okay. Well, Alan liked his answer. That's awesome. Glad to help you, buddy. Okay. All right. Matt is feeling very generous tonight. We're answering a question for a subscriber, Killer Queen. How do you increase the water pressure in a second-story bathroom when I do a renovation up there? Okay. Let's just deal with that water pressure issue. If you don't have a water pressure issue in other areas of the home, like your kitchen faucet, you don't have a water pressure issue in your bathroom. What you have is a restriction that's driving you crazy. There are a lot of fixtures on the market that are designed to slow the use of water, be water conservational, right? Especially showers. So most people that ask me about water pressure are upset with their shower. And that's really the question. The answer is, when you go shop for a new shower valve, if you're going to change it, then go to a place like a Woolsey or a commercial wholesaler or somebody like that, and they have ratings on how many gallons per minute, like the flow rate. And you can compare all the different products that are out there and buy one with the best flow rate for you. That's the best option. The other thing you can do is, if you're not happy with the amount of volume coming out of a fixture, in a lot of cases, like with a shower head, if you take it off, like unscrew it, you're going to find that there's a screen right where the connection is. And if you remove that screen and that filter, then you'll allow the water to flow freely again, and you can solve your own problem just by removing a screen that's there to cause a problem. It has no function at all. So feel free to pull the screens out of your plumbing and see if that helps. Okay, we got a new member there, Matt. Does it look like someone wearing a panda costume or something? Rose, welcome to the membership program. Man, cute outfit. All right. August wants to know, he's looking to get a Maryland bathtub. Yeah. Great product. The internet has lots of different options about mortar under bathtubs. What do you say? I say, if you buy a good quality bathtub like a Maryland, you don't need mortar, because they have a solid plywood or OSB base with big square legs underneath. And usually there's 4 or 5 or 6 of them. And they have no problem transferring the load from a tub and having great contact with the floor. Okay. Now, if your floor is wonky, you can put down some sand mix to set it all in. That works great. But generally speaking, if your floor is flat and you get a Maryland tub, you don't need the sand mix. You can just set it in place and it's perfect every time, because it's Maryland and they're amazing. Now, if you go buy a cheap tub from the Home Depot, for instance, they don't have any legs. So yeah, you need the sand mix to support the weight. So it's not about, do I need it or not? It's about, does the product you're using require it or not? So that's really a short answer made long. Yeah, my bad. Sarah has a question. Her mom has a 1960s bathroom, no ventilation, and the bathroom has been soaked in mold for years. Yep. Money has been tight for a while and subfloor is squishing. Anything we can do while saving for the reno? Okay. Yes, there is. First of all, living in mold is very unhealthy. Okay. If you're actually going to save for a reno, I would even consider, in that kind of scenario, doing a bit of a loan or value against the house and get it done sooner than later, just because the consequences of living in that mold are going to be so nasty. If you're going to start touching it to try to seal it up so you can separate the mold from the airspace, you're only going to be so successful at that. If you put in a new loose lay vinyl floor, okay, and silicone the edges, that'll help with the floor. But it's the mold coming through the wall and the tile. You might need to just get that painted. If you can paint everything and seal it up again after a good bleach job, you can probably buy yourself 6 months to a year. But that's about it. Because once it's really prominent like that and it's eating things away, it continues to increase the scope of work every month that you wait. So it's best to get to it as fast as possible. It's not always the news everybody wants to hear, but, you know, welcome to home ownership, eh? Like, sometimes it just sucks. Wow. And that's a good note, guys. A 60s bathroom, like, it should have been renovated 20 years ago. I don't care how well a bathroom is installed. 40 years. Wow. You're asking for it, right? Like, even a modern system 40 years from now needs to be changed because houses are still made of wood and things still move. So there's no guarantees, right? So yeah, anyway, let's get back to happy. It breaks my heart, right, to hear stories like that. But anyway, maybe one day we'll be able to just parachute in and help people like that out. But right now, that's just not possible. Karam Salim, welcome to Money in the Bank. And Benny, look at it. Members just joining like cats and dogs over here. It's like raining. And we got a question. Somebody did a super chat. How do you fix an electrical box GFCI outlet that is sticking out too far? And when you put an outlet cover, there is gapping. Yeah, you know what? You can actually buy cover plates that have like a thicker return. It's, it's tricky. The other option is turn the breaker off. And if you look at just above the top of the box, top and bottom, there's usually mounting screws. And if it's not screws, then there's usually two great big fat nails shoved right through the box. And you can see the nails in the box. And if you take a pair of side cutting pliers, right, and you can pry those nails back out, get rid of them, you can push the box in a little bit and then throw in a couple of screws. But sometimes you can just reset the box right in the same hole, get an oversized plate, because all that fussing around, you usually damage the wall a little bit. But it's a great way to sink it back in the wall. And it works. It's just, you got to be a little patient. All right. Hopefully that helps. The only other option is if that doesn't work, because it's GFCI, you might find that your box is just too big for that wall cavity. Like sometimes they put in extra deep boxes in a 2x3 wall and they just don't fit together. It's just too much box. So that can be another issue, but let's move on. Kiana Wilson has a question. What is the best way to remove the plastic shower unit? It looks like a 2-piece shower unit. All right. Okay. I think the best way to remove those units is literally go like more TV, like use power tools. All right. Generally speaking, in behind these units, there's empty space. So feel free to get a little wild and crazy, drill a small hole, throw a jigsaw in the rounded corner because it's a molded body, right? And just start cutting it into manageable pieces and remove it. That's just the thing. A lot of these units are fiberglass, so you've got to wear a mask and gloves, okay, long sleeve, even tape your arms down. You don't want to get that stuff in your skin. It's really irritating. But if you just, go a little Rambo, have some fun, make a therapy session, you'll be fine. All right? Just turn off all the water stuff so you don't accidentally turn on the tap when you're ripping out the base. Anyway, David wants to know, what is the best way to put tile in the shower floor? David, that is a bit of a too broad of a question. Okay? It really depends on the kind of shower that you're doing, but you really want to make sure that when you're putting tile on a floor, it's a wet area. You got to have, and I'm going to call it 100% coverage. Okay. You just want to have it like buried in cement to the point where you've got to clean out the grout lines with a pencil and then a sponge afterwards. You just don't want to have any voids. Okay. You don't want to run the risk of having any point in your history where you put pressure on a corner of a tile and there's a gap there and it pops or get a hairline crack, because then the water is going to just start flowing down there way too fast, right? So you just got to be real careful. Robert Hernandez has a question. I've got a slow leak inside of my toilet at the flapper. Yep. You've replaced the flapper twice, but the leak persists. If you push the flapper down, it slows the leak temporarily. Do I have to replace the toilet? Yeah. You know what? Most likely. Just save yourself the aggravation. I'm not sure where you live, Robert, but I haven't done this video yet, but the majority of toilets that are sold on the market are garbage and they don't work. I don't want to break everyone's heart here, but if you want a toilet that works, go to Wolseley or go to Ferguson, buy one that works. They've got a product called ProFlow. Looks like a toilet, acts like a toilet, works perfect every time. Not going to have an issue. You know what? And then if you ever have an issue, you've got a store where it came from. They can sell you the parts to replace it, and it's not a dramatic deal. But if you got a toilet that you can't replace parts and it works again, you're wasting your time and energy. Like, there's a lot of crap on the market. Irony there, isn't it? All right, we got a super chat. I got a 1999 California home. I want to swap my master shower and tub because the shower is so tiny. Thoughts on that kind of a plumbing job? You know, the irony is that the shower and the tub use exactly the same drain pipe size. So swapping them out is really simple. They both have a P-trap under the floor. There's not a whole lot of conversion going on. And if you're basically just swapping the fixture and the location, then your venting is all in place still. That is a really easy fix. The only issue you're going to run into is if all of this plumbing is on the main floor and it's a concrete slab on grade. But if it's a second floor, piece of cake. If it's a concrete floor and the locations will still work, you're just going to swap the fixture use location, you're going to be fine. So don't even worry about it. All right? Oh, Frederick, is it possible to DIY a flat roof? Yeah, it's possible. But do you really want to do it? Like, really? I'm going to say no, it's not possible. And I'll tell you why. There are enough guys in the flat roof business who burn houses to the ground every year who know what they're doing. Is that really something you want to risk? Is your home insurance going to cover you if you have that problem? In a lot of cases, the answer is no. So always check your insurance first. And for everybody who's DIYing out there, if you're going to be changing major components of your house and doing a major project and you don't inform your insurance company, you can run into trouble because a lot of companies have like an add-on or a revision to the policy during home renovation, okay, that you can get coverage for all of the problems you can run into while you set something on fire, you cause a flood, all this kind of stuff, your structure snaps. You can be insured for that repair, but only if you've declared it up front and they've added a rider to your policy. So just because you're doing it yourself doesn't mean you want to take on all the liability that a contractor would. They pay liability insurance for a reason. People make mistakes and things happen. So if you're doing it in your own house, make sure that you're insured if there's a problem. That is the answer to can you DIY it? All right. Okay. North of 60, PEX or copper, which do you prefer? PEX every day of the week. Trevor, looking to install a temporary shower in the basement. Should I worry about the steam causing any damage? Only in use for about a month. You know, for a month, yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. Honestly, if the basement's got a window, you can open it up once a week and swap out some air, or at least if it has a cold air return, right? So that whatever steam is in that basement, you're pulling it through your cold air return and distributing through the whole house. Yeah, 1 month for a temporary shower, you're probably making a mountain out of a molehill there. All right. And we got another member. How am I supposed to pronounce that? I think the H is silent. And it's welcome to the DIY crew, Nasty Witch. That's awesome. All right. I did it. That's fun. Arlene has a question about her bathroom. What do I have to be careful of when removing an older whirlpool tub versus a regular bathtub? Okay, you got to make sure that the power's off. Okay? And it's heavy. Whirlpool tubs, they've got the motor and everything else in there. They're a lot heavier. But that's about it. And they're usually on a platform base. So really it comes down to make sure there's someone to help you. You've turned off the power. You've disconnected the power supply. Once you've disconnected the power supply, though, everything is all contained. It's one unit. You can just lift it out, two people, no problems. There's no other trick to it. Okay? So you should be just fine. And, of course, obviously, if the plumbing is coming through the deck of the tub, then you have to disengage all of the finishing trim so that you can lift the tub off of the valve faucet, right? We pretty sure we covered that information in another video. A lot of manufacturers have got different ideas on how that works, so they're not all exactly the same. But if you have faucets coming through the tub deck, the everything there can be removed before you start. So turn off the water, go find there's an access point or a little round circle or something you can pop off, and there's an Allen key, or just like really reef on it and you can unthread it if there's no connection like that. And once you've removed all of the gaskets and the clips and all that stuff, you can just lift the tub straight up and you should be fine. All right. Okay. Another question here. MN Deep Kang. Man, I've got to get better at this name stuff. Do you have to worry about your concrete pad being up against your house? Foundation. What would you put between them to help with expansion? Oh, yeah, that's an interesting question. Depends where you are, right? Like concrete, like anything else, it's going to have a certain amount of expansion contraction. So you want an expansion joint. So just like in a sidewalk, you'll see that little fuzzy stuff that they stick in there between the lines. Expansion joint for your concrete up against your house would be a brilliant idea, all right? So I would definitely want to have one if I lived there. All right. Oh, where are we here? Well, not yet. Okay, so Benny has a question here. He's got a home built in 2005, located in Miami. And I'm already jealous. I don't want to talk to you. I have a leak entering the exterior wall around your window seal, and the water is dumping onto the first floor. Yeah. What's involved in fixing it? Okay. So the leak is related to the quality of the window installation. So I would call a window company out. And if there's nothing wrong with the window, I would have them uninstall and reinstall the window. You're probably missing some flashing or some flashing tape or some sort of a seal that diverts the water away from the top of the window. So when it rains, it gets in behind and then it just kind of dribbles out. So it's just an installation issue. It shouldn't take a window installer more than a couple of hours to do a brand new install on an existing window. They can just pull it out, stick it back in. Yeah, if you wanted to do it yourself, you could probably do it too. But just understand the kind of window you have. And there's a lot of different varieties out there. We've only covered a couple on the channel so far. But just make sure you take a picture. You can go to a window company and say, this is my window. Does it look like it's installed right to you, or are they missing something? Right? Or you can send me the picture and I can tell you. Why am I sending you around town? Put a post in the membership forum and I'll be able to help you out. That's amazing. If I had a busy day or something today, man, I'm like, my mind isn't working. I can help you. I know how to do a window. I mean, oh my goodness. Okay. We got a super chat here from 6.7 Life. To know all the stories behind this stuff, 1975 home in rural Pennsylvania on roughly 1.5 acres. Should I add on to my 2-car garage, or should I build a separate garage pole barn? Which is better? Yeah, wow. That's a heck of a question. I mean, you got the room. If you can add on and it's simple, then add on if your roof line allows it. But if you got to redesign your roof line to do an addition on a garage, unless you want to just make the interior space bigger and all under the same roof and not have a separation wall. But you'll find that sometimes building something new and standing alone is faster and easier, and it's just less complicated than trying to tie into an existing structure. But it all comes down to the roof line and how easy it is to work with. If you can just do like a lean-to roof, off an existing gable end or something, maybe you can get a third one on there easy enough. But yeah, you probably pretty much got to cost out both projects for material and labor and then make your decision, because there's going to be an aesthetic design element in there. But I always deal with the money first when I'm doing something like that. I don't mind being a little disappointed with the cosmetics if I can save a few bucks because I'm cheap. Okay, we got a question here. Do we always need to pull permits for remodeling a bathroom? Never. Remodeling a bathroom means you're not changing the location of all your plumbing. You're not changing your wiring systems. You're simply taking out all the old fixtures and installing new fixtures and finishes. That's a remodel. And remodeling kitchens and bathrooms are both the same. You don't need a permit for that in almost every jurisdiction in the world. And if I'm wrong about whatever it is that you live, the easiest way to find out is just say, call up the city or the state or wherever it is that you are in and talk to the building permit officer where you live and just say, I'm just remodeling my bathroom. Does it need a permit? Most of the time, the answer is no, as long as you're not changing your plumbing locations, drains, vents, and electrical. No issue. Whew. Now, let's get into it here. Ba-bum. But definitely for where I live in Ontario, no worries. And Alessandro has joined the membership program. Cheers, buddy. Welcome. All right, let's get into some questions here, Maddie. Robert Hernandez. Oh, that's the guy with the window. He's a new home 2017. Yeah, okay, so there's the answer to your question, Robert. It's a relatively new home, and if the water's coming in around that window, they installed it wrong. That's all there is to it. Piece of cake. All right. Mary wants to know, she just completed her DIY bathroom remodel. Referred back to your videos religiously. Okay. Mud pan, which I never did a video on. Curb, tile, shower, tile floor, thin brick wall, trim. Caulking is not your jam. Any tips about caulking? Yeah. If you're not good at caulking, you can use painting tape to define the edge on both sides of the surface you're caulking. And then you can use there's different caulking tools. I bought a red one at Home Depot recently, and it's just like, it's got a couple of little triangle ends on it made out of silicone. And you can use that as a guide to press it all in. And then you get a nice clean edge, and then you can peel all the extra tape off. And whatever's left behind after doing that looks fantastic. So it's a great cheat. I should probably do that video, but there are other people on the internet who have done that video, so you can follow their advice. It actually works. But painter's tape and some sort of tool to trowel that in. I've even seen the guy once, I think he used a credit card. Hey, whatever works. It gets you the look you're going for. Okay, let's go. Oh, the toilet was made by Gerber. He's the toilet guy, not the window guy. My bad. Okay. I'm not familiar with Gerber, unfortunately. I don't have a comment on a product, but if it's not working and it can't be fixed, because these things are all made with porcelain, sometimes it's just the mold process is faulty, and there's just always going to be a break in the seal, right? All it takes is one little bump where a gasket's supposed to sit, and everything is shot. I had that problem with the tub once. The underside of the tub where the connection was made had a bump from the manufacturing process. No matter what we did, that toilet leaked until we pulled it all apart, and we got in there with like a microscope, and we found the bump, and then we filed it down, and everything was fine. Maddening. Yeah, okay, so Bristol is in the super chat here. You're watching me. Yeah, that was a hot day. I'm sweating my butt off for sure. Happy to share that experience. It was a lot of fun. Max and I absolutely had a blast doing that. All right. Tina Michelle is in her car and has a question. This is what my husband did not do. He screwed the tub on top of the drywall. Ouch. And I've seen that tons of times. Yeah. Wow. It's not the end of the world, right? Your drywall is not your water diversion system, but now how in the world do you finish that? You've got drywall. You now have a tub flange. You want a tile, and then you got to bump over the edge of the tub. That's just strange. So you're going to end up using a lot of cement on the back of your tile so that you can start in front of the tile, the integrated tile flange of the tub, and then follow it all the way up. You're going to be adding I don't know, maybe almost ½ inch of cement, 3/8 of cement, and then you collapse the ridge to make it the way you want it. Probably get some tile leveling clips to get that system done, but it'll work. Make sure you use the red guard. Seal it all up. Jeff, do you have an opinion on tile-ready shower pans for custom tile shower? They seem much easier than pitching a concrete shower base. Yeah, they are easier, and you pay for it. I think they're like $600. I'm just saying. But pretty much any custom tile shower base is going to cost you $600. So if you're just going to put in a regular shower with a round drain, you can get one from Schluter, and you can get the same thing, and it probably costs less than $600, and it's ready to tile as soon as you install it as well. So I don't really get it. It's kind of like having a shower pan, but then you can add tile on top to make it look sexy. So I guess I get it. I just don't understand why we'd spend $600 on some sort of an acrylic base when you have so many limitations with it. I don't know. I have never used it for that reason. It just never seemed to float my boat. I always prefer the ability to have more flexibility with my build, and so just going all Schluter works for me. But I mean, yeah, if it makes sense for you and it's up your alley for where you're comfortable performing the work, then go right ahead and use it. It's been around the market a long time, and I know it works, so not an issue. And just while we're at it, in case you joined the live stream late and you never heard me say the first time, hit the like button on the live stream. Thanks. All right, here we go. Colin, it's got any advice on installing an exhaust fan through a stone wall? Long story short, the house is 200 years old and has no plenum space accessible. Yes. Call a custom coring company. They've got the high-powered tools necessary to drill an exactly 4-inch round hole through any bunker man and God have ever created, okay? So that's the problem solved right there. They pull up with their truck. They got special tools. They'll get out there. You just mark the spot, and they'll drill the hole. They don't care if it's 2, 3 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet thick. Whatever you got to do, they can put a hole in a stone wall. And having said that, there is some really strong bedrock type granite that's tricky to work with. So depending where you live, just call and say, hey, it's an old house and the stone wall is 2 feet thick. Can you help me out? And in that region, they'll know if they're able to do it for you or not. And so they can tell you over the phone. All right. But yeah, that can be a little bit of a pain. You might be stuck opening a window for the rest of your life. But you bought it, right? I mean, so hey. All right. Sterling has a question. Looking to close the walls on my bathroom remodel. What is the checklist? Things to make sure before I close the wall. That's a great question. So let's go through the checklist for before you close your walls. And closing means putting in the drywall, right? So, A, you've done all your electrical work, right? Lights, plugs, fan, switches, all that's done. And you've had it inspected. Okay, right? All right. So if you've had it inspected, then you're ready to go. You've done all of your venting work and your plumbing work and your supply, and you've connected your shower valve. You've at least got a pipe sticking out a wall for your toilet and for your hot and cold for your vanity. It's all been capped and pressurized and tested so that it won't leak, right? You have a shower pan or a tub or both, and you've plugged the drain with a temporary plug and filled them up, all right? And this is how you test this stuff to make sure that it's not leaking. If this is my shower, okay, and I put a pail in the middle of the shower, all right? I add 2 inches of water into my shower pan, and I put the same amount of water in the pail as there is on the outside. And I put a black marker line on it, all right? The next day when you come back, it'll be a little bit lower because it evaporates. Now, as long as the water in the pail is at the same height as the water in the pan, that's evaporation, not a leak. If the water outside the pail is lower than the water in the pail, that means you have a leak. That's how you test it. Same thing for tubs. You can use that pail technique, and it works like a charm. If you have the ability to do that, that's great. Sometimes you just can't look underneath, right? So you've got to use the pail testing technique, and that is how you test. So as long as your plumbing rough is done and everything's pressurized and everything is tested and everything's not leaking, then you can close your walls. There really is only that. The only other thing I would suggest before you close, you got electrical, you got plumbing, consider all of the other things you're going to be attaching to your wall. Your robe hooks, your towel bars, toilet paper holder, know where all those are going to go, have a design for how big they're going to be, and add horizontal blocking in the wall for those locations so you have something to screw your fixture to. I don't know why, but the world is obsessed with a 30-inch and a 24-inch towel bar, but our framing in the walls is 16-inch, and you can never connect the other side of the bloody towel bar to the frame. So before you drywall, always install horizontal blocking so that you have that flexibility to install the towel bars, and they'll still be installed years later instead of just falling off the wall and leaving great big holes in the drywall. So maddening. And that is a really long answer to a very simple question. All right. Okay, let's get back into this. Matt, where am I? Aha. I got a 1950s home with an unfinished garage. I want to add a concrete floor. Boy, that's really unfinished. How do I level the clay dirt properly? And do I need gravel and rebar, or can I just level and pour on top of the vapor barrier? Yeah, so here's the thing. Clay is really tricky. If you have a garage and it's got clay in it, then I really don't know what's going on with your structure, your foundation there. But if that clay is connected to other dirt outside, like it's a garage now, but it used to be a carport, right? That's a possibility. They've closed in the sides. Then whenever the ground gets wet, that clay is going to expand and it's like cause you issues. You really want to get rid of some of that clay, add in a vapor barrier and some drainage, right? Some 3/4 inch stone before you add your concrete. Talk to your concrete company. They're going to have an assembly or a process for doing that gives them the confidence to give you a warranty on the work. All right. So first you find a concrete contractor. They'll know their area. They'll know the rules. They'll be able to guide you through the process of what that needs to look like before they show up. Okay. But generally just throwing concrete on top of clay is not a cool idea, no matter what climate you're in, especially if it gets cold. All right. Or you're in Colorado. Expansive soil. Bad idea. Where am I? Nasty Witch? Oh. The H is silent. I love it. No, I'm on James Headley. I got to follow Matt's direction here, guys. So if I bounce around a bit, it's my bad. Is there any good solution to increasing the height of a shower head without opening up the wall and physically moving pipes? 50 showers, very low shower head. Okay, so there is one. If this is the hole in the wall, traditional shower heads come out like this and then go down, and then the shower head's down here. There is a shower head. Moen makes it. The bar comes straight out the wall and then arcs up and then you have a rain shower head. It's exactly the same height as the hole. Outside of that, you're on your own. The only other option is to change your shower valve system to an external shower valve system and have the pipe on the inside of the tile, and you can set that as high as you like. But if you don't want to do too much work and you just want to change that arm, you can usually get yourself about, I'm going to say about 4 or 5 inches if you get rid of the traditional arm and add that new bar with the rain shower head. But then it's a rain shower head. It's going to have different pressure. And so you got to decide if that's really for you, right? But I don't know of any other options out there that will solve that. Where am I here, bud? Super chat? JBG wants to know if I have any thoughts on moving a shower up against a big window. Haven't done it yet. Thinking about moisture and privacy, obviously. Close it all up. Okay, so generally speaking, if your window is a vinyl window and it is a non-operating window, you can have it in a shower space. The secret there is to then waterproof around the window and tile right up to it and create a water diversion system so that it's not a problem. And then you can also add You can order the window as a privacy glass, or there's an application you can attach to the glass after the fact, kind of like glass wallpaper, really. And you can put a privacy feature on it. So it's completely doable. Not an issue. But you definitely want to waterproof and right up to that vinyl. It's so critical. And then have whatever window jamb on the bottom, have a little bit of a slope. So water is always moving away from the window. You don't want it ever sitting against whatever sealant you're using to bond your tile to your vinyl. Brandon Armstrong, fairly simple question. Good. When is 1/4-inch cement board thick enough for a shower wall under tile? Generally speaking, the 1/4-inch cement board is really only used to add thickness to something that needs to be converted. Like if you have a current tile halfway up a wall, or you're tiling with some really thick tile and you want to add a small mosaic, we use 1/4-inch cement board to build out the thickness so that the tile finishes properly, because thin mosaics interrupting a thick tile, right? You don't want to add a bunch of cement behind it because you can't smooth it out and flatten it in properly, and it sags and it doesn't hold up nice. So we build it out with the cement board. It's not a real common material. I would just suggest always going with the 1/2-inch board in a shower. But, if you were to, I cheated. I used the 1/4 cement board in my shower because I was using 16 by 32 tile. And so I didn't need a lot of structural strength out of the wall. I just needed somewhere to hang it, right? But if you're using huge tile like that, you could probably cheat. But for what it's worth, it only saves you like $1 or $2. For me, it was just a matter of, it's more of a supply issue. The day I went to the store, I was like, there's just nothing around. I didn't have much of an option. And that was kind of maddening. All right. How do I prepare the shower floor to put the tile? I really need help on this one. Okay. David, I'm going to suggest you take a picture, go into the forum and send me that message, and I'll help you with your assembly. It's probably easier because I can only just guess right now what I'm going to be looking at when I get there. And there's just too many answers to too many different variations. And I don't want to spend the next half an hour going through 14 different tile floor installation options. So if you could do that for me, that'd be great. Lewis sent super chat with no message. You're already a member. That's lots of love there. That's fun. You want to know what to do with the gable vent in a garage that you want to insulate and heat. Okay. You want to insulate and heat the garage? Yeah. And you got a gable vent. So if you want to insulate the entire garage right up to the peak, let's say, and because if you have a gable, that means you got a peak. Let's say you're going to go spray foam. Okay. You no longer need the fresh air, right? So you can leave the gable on the outside and just, you could even, you got to find a way to probably use Typar over top of the gable from the inside, and then you can insulate and then close it up because you don't need fresh air if you're going to insulate the entire space. All right. Or you can, instead of going right to the peak with your insulation, you can drop in some collar ties just above where the gable is, and you can insulate that section and then from there down. That's the other option. But if you got a gable and you're going to be insulating right to the peak, then at least put some weatherproofing up against that gable and seal it up on that fixture from inside the building. And then at a later date, you can remove it when you change your facade, or you can leave it there forever. It doesn't matter. Okay. Yeah, no problem. David, like I said, you send me that picture and we'll take a look at that and we can talk further. I am available to get back to you on that tomorrow. I got a little bit of time tomorrow, so that'll be good. Okay, Matt, where are we, bud? Are we current?
He was just asking how to prepare the shower floor to tile. So
it all depends on what kind of floor. There's so many options.
I was just thinking vacuum and sweep.
Yeah, well, hey, clean and dry is always a good start, but there's a lot to it. So, Okay. This get me back up to speed. I think it's 7 o'clock. Whoa, it's after 7 o'clock, Maddie. Imagine that.
All right. Give me a second.
All right. Freddie L's got a question. Is there any con or downside? What is this? I got the mouse in my hand here now. Ooh, maybe this is a new way to do this. Is there any downside for using pebbles for a shower floor? Yeah. The downside is grouting is a real pain in the butt. Like, it's a labor of love grouting a pebble floor, to be honest. The other thing you got to check, and I'm going to be just really frank with you, Freddie, is there's a lot of companies out there who are making pebble floors, and they install these pebbles, kind of half-cut stones around on top, and they're great, right? I mean, they're good for the feet. They're great for giving your feet something to rub against, keep the skin all nice and smooth. But here's the deal. A lot of these companies that are making this stuff are installing it on a mesh backing, and that mesh is using a water-based adhesive to attach to the stones. So the stones are going through the assembly line, the glue is sprayed, and a mesh sheet is dropped on top. And that really leaves you with a lot of inconsistencies, and those products are not approved for wet areas, because what happens is everything you use in a shower is porous to a certain degree. I mean, you put a little water on it, it'll dry up. But if you get it wet and it stays wet, it'll work its way down into that adhesive and it'll let go. And now your stone is no longer bonded with the floor underneath, because those mesh mats are almost 100% coverage. So then all your stones are only slightly embedded in cement, and they're a lot easier to break out and cause cracking. So make sure that if you're going to use them, you're buying it from a company, you're paying good money, and it's wet area approved. They've got to be able to show documentation at the tile store to prove it. Okay, so don't buy crap, and be prepared, because it's going to be a long day grouting. If you've never done this before, it's kind of like baking a cake. You want to actually make a cone and cut a hole in the bottom and like pipe the grout into the holes, right? And then wet sponge and work it in nice and gentle. Don't just slop a half a pail down there and try to move it around. You'll go crazy, okay? It's a lot of work. That might be a really good video one of these days to do that. Getting all kinds of great video ideas, guys. Thanks. All right, now let's go here. I got the mouse. I'm driving. La, 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 la. Oh, pebbles might hurt your feet. No. Pebbles feel great. If you've ever done a custom hot tub and you put that pebble in the bottom, oh, that is just, it's like a foot massage at the same time, right? This stuff is awesome. Okay. Oh, whoa. Scooby Doofus says he's paid for a membership, but no answers. Is there a forum? Yep. Live chats are like shouting in a crowded room. Well, I just heard you. Dude, yeah, there's a forum. You got to go onto the homepage, check out the community tab. Now that you're a member, because I can see the icon, all the information is sitting right there waiting for you to access, but you got to know how to access it. YouTube is not, it's not an interface where you hit a membership and then we take responsibility to reach out. You've got to take the initiative to reach out. So knowing how it operates is key. So get into the community post, take a look at the information, jump in the forum, and ask your questions. And be happy to help you out. Matthew Kinnison is asking me, before I get to that, Garrett Clay, welcome to the membership program, dude. Cheers. Now, Matthew, your question. Is Curdy board sturdy enough to go straight over steel studs for a tiled tub shower wall? Yes. Always. And if you're hesitant about it at all, upgrade from 1/2 inch to 5/8. It'll blow your mind how much stronger it is. And you can also put adhesive on your steel and then set your Curdy into it and then screw it on. And it makes it 3 times as strong. I'm just saying. It works real well. Use the seal and bond, right? Or use the Curdy fix. That'll blow your mind. You'll love it. Okay. Next. Joe Collins. What are the conditions for being able to have a curbless walk-in shower Why would people need a curb? Generally, the need for a curb relates to the fact that the assemblies for showers require certain elements, and it takes a certain amount of space. So you either spend a lot of money on product, or you build a bed to create slope. If you have a bed, you need a curb, or you have to restructure your joists and your floor. Now, there is lots of technology and options out there for making a shower without a curb. The curbless showers generally cost you a lot of money. So you've got to consider, is the house you're living in worth that investment? Because you can spend $2,000 on technology for a curbless shower, or you can go buy a few bags of cement and make a slope and put in a curb. Really, it comes down to curbless simply means, look at me, I had the money to do it. It doesn't make you any cleaner. That's really what it comes down to, right? Creating condition for the value of the home to be raised up because you've got a nicer product than the neighbor. And when you're selling your house, that's all that counts. Do I have a better product than my neighbor, and I can get more money and sell first? So if you can go curbless, then you should. Like I said, if you're going to renovate your own bathroom, I don't care what you put in there. As a DIY renovation, you always are making money. You can't lose. So don't be afraid to go all in. Okay. And Tamara thought that was a really good question. So it really comes down to simplicity, right? A simple shower versus a complex shower. Now remember, I also say this, the more complex the system, the more likelihood to make a mistake. So you got to balance out complexity with the patience, with the experience, with the ability to read instructions and follow them, all of these things, right? Be able to pick the right assembly for you. But you know what? I'm a big fan of curbless. We're going to be doing more of them in the near future, and it ought to be a lot of fun. Oh, wow. What just happened there? I moved the mouse a little bit and it just, okay, I was here. Max, sorry, Matt, I got to make you drive again.
Yeah, you could.
Oh, any smart features for bathroom? Yeah, you can do speakers. You can have heated flooring on demand. It's all programmable. You can have music playing. You can have lights and blinds that can turn on and off and open and close and all kinds of cool stuff. I'm pretty sure they're even having a smart thermostat now. So you can just say, hey, by the way, can you make it 98? I want a warm shower. Can you make it 102? I'm ready for a hot shower. There is no end to how technology can affect your bathroom. It's just about whether or not you're willing to pay for it. It's not all very affordable yet, that's for sure. Garrett would like to know, he's got a basement bathroom in a wood foundation home with a concrete slab. Okay. And you're going to renovate. Okay. The drain for the shower is above the slab and goes through a wall into a Y behind the sink. Okay. What to do? What to do is send me a picture. Sometimes the best thing to do is just send me a picture. Okay. Somebody just sent us a super chat and said, can you scroll back up and answer my question? That's really creative. Any idea where we're going here, Matt?
I'm just looking for his name.
Yeah? What was it?
AD707.
Oh my. Okay, this might not work.
How about you just ask
You know what? AD707, the best way to do is just ask your question in the super chat or just add it again, and we'll keep our eyes open for it. But yeah, let's do that. Let's go back to the most current for a second. Wow, we are really behind, aren't we? Hey, Sandy's in the house. Sorry, I'm late. Yeah, we all noticed, Sandy. The show didn't even start until you got here. All right. Yeah, thermostat goes in the bathroom. Smart thermostat. Yeah, if you have an electric heated floor like I do, I'm never going to put a bathroom in without a heated floor ever again, just for the record. Okay, Matt, we got to go back up and catch all of the super chats and then just get back to current again and make everybody jump in with new questions, okay? Oh, Okay. Mom has a shower reno coming up. She's putting in a steam shower. Very nice. What's the list of must-dos and things to consider, please? Steam shower has the need for a slope ceiling so that the water will collect down the side and go down to the drain. If you put in a flat ceiling, it will fail inspection when you go to sell the house, and that would be a problem. So that's about the only consideration, plus having lots of glass all the way to the ceiling, right? You also need to waterproof your ceiling, and you want to tile that ceiling as well. So treat it more like a submarine build than a shower build, and you'll be fine. There he is. How strict is the rule about not creating a niche in the shower wall if it's second floor exterior wall? Cali, very hot summers, west facing wall with window in same wall. Thank you so much. Okay, so the reason we don't put niches in exterior walls is because of temperature change and expansion and contraction. And it's really hard to get a tile installation to perform well in that environment. So that is really what's going on. That's the consideration. Yeah, so there we go. So thanks for the super chat. But let's go over the rules again here tonight, kids. Matt, why don't you scroll down, get us all the super chats we got to catch up with, okay? Okay, Zach wanted to know, he's looking to finish it off, his basement, walls and floor. Not much has been ran in the walls yet. Should I put the pipes and electrical on the wall now? Would that be easier? Okay, Zach, so you've got concrete walls in the basement. Usually basements are built in houses that have cold temperatures. So when you do want to finish this, you need to add a wall framing structure so that you can insulate. So if you're going to insulate, then you can run drains, but it has to be closer to the floor below the frost line. And you've got to run all your wiring before you do anything else. And if you're going to run water supply in a basement wall, it has to be on the interior of any vapor barrier in the stud bay coming from the roof, okay? And that's how you can get that done. Otherwise, you got to build a second interior wall to run plumbing, right? So consider your route. Sometimes you can come across the ceiling and drop down an interior wall, which might be a lot easier. But, if you want, join the membership program, and we'd be happy to help you with your design. No problem. Send me pictures and ask for advice. Okay. So, Matt, can you go down further a little bit? We're way behind. I just want to kind of get caught up. So there's that one. Good. We've done that one. Keep going down. Keep going. Okay. Keep going.
This is live.
So we're live now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. So here's the deal. And Matt, just stay live. We're going to end up like 1,700 screens behind. So we're just going to stay live now. If we missed your question, just ask it again. Right? That's not a problem. Okay. So Mike has sent out a super chat. Already asked my question and already a member, but you deserve this because you're so helpful and most importantly, have a great attitude. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate that, buddy. All right. Tamara, if we buy in bulk, can you suggest fixtures? Buy in bulk fixtures. Well, how many fixtures are you buying for your bathroom? I can suggest fixtures all day long. It's not that hard, right? Plumbing, get something made of brass. Every company has it. They just don't sell it at the box stores. It's about what store you're at, not what is the best looking or best volume. Okay, so I can't really answer that question. I think I need more information tomorrow if you could help narrow that down for me, because my brain's shooting off in 1,000 different directions just thinking about that question. So are you talking about like us as DIY crew? If we were to buy things in bulk, can we suggest like better fixtures? Because we are working on some amazing deals coming soon. I'm just saying. I know I keep saying that, but it's true. Sharon Jones would like to know if she should worry about chances of fire with electrical heated floors. The answer is no. It's not a concern at all. When they're run properly and they're on all of the right kind of circuit breakers and everything else, it's completely safe, okay? So you want to use an arc fault breaker, and then all of these heated floors have got a GFCI switch at the thermostat. So you're double protected. It's never a concern. Okay. Shannon is renovating a shower with curdy board. Rusty corner bead needs replaced. Drywall on one side, curdy board on the other. Yep. Is vinyl corner bead okay? And do I only use thin set on the curdy board side? Great question. You know, you can use vinyl if you want, or you can go back with another metal one. Doesn't really matter. Here's the thing about curdy that most people don't know. We're going to have to do this video. The orange board, okay, you can treat it like drywall outside of a tiled surface. So you have your tile, you'll have an edge, and you'll have like a couple inches of orange stuff, right? Then you've got a corner bead. And people always want to know, how do I deal with that? And the answer is just treat it like drywall and apply drywall compound because it bonds perfectly. I know. It's like a mesh, and so it has no problem bonding to that. And you can just do a couple of coats, sand it, prime it, paint it, boom, done. No problem. Same thing if you're doing a bathroom and your shower wall continues into the rest of the room, right? People want to know, well, where should the joint from the curdy to the drywall be? Doesn't matter. You're buying a piece of curdy that's 4 feet wide, cut the wall and bring it out 4 feet. Do the seam there. Who cares? Because you can drywall over top of it. Piece of cake. Now, it does make a lot of sense sometimes to do those joints where the tile is, right? Because you can span a gap with tile and just fill it with thin set and don't worry about it. But curdy board can be drywall. So not an issue. Any plans for Minnesota stop when tour starts up again? Now you're going to make me cry. I got plans to go everywhere. I can't wait to get out of here. Seriously. Oh, yeah, the wife and I are buying a fifth wheel. It's going to be nice. It's a nice trailer. And we're going to go on a tour. You're darn right. I can't wait to get out there and make videos in everybody's houses. It's going to be amazing. We're going to have a lot of fun doing that. So Scooby Doofus wants to know if you insulate and or vapor barrier against a structural brick wall home. Depends where you live. So again, all building questions have different zones. We got zone 1 in Miami all the way up to zone 95 at the North Pole, we'll call it, all right? So everybody's got different rules. So if you want to know about your specific house, it's very important in the questions, folks, to tell me where you live, and then I can answer that question. So a lot of structural brick homes are in the South just because they don't need insulation, or if they do, they're just going to put a little bit of strapping and maybe a little bit of spray foam and go for it. And that's fine, right? Air conditioning solves a lot of problems down there. Where you need a lot of insulation is in the North, right? Because cold is a bigger issue with insulation than the heat in the South is. Okay, let's, welcome to Money in the Bank. All right, cheers. Rob, was that, I missed that. Was it Robra Design? Oh, very cool. Okay, cool. And let's get to Carl's question. When you grout shower walls with an acrylic base, yes, do you grout the bottom where the tile comes in contact with the base? Here's the $1 million question, right? If you built it really well and nothing's moving around and the base is screwed to the wall and everything is good, you can just grout away. All right, no big deal. The gap becomes the issue. Okay. Now every change from tile to another kind of material needs an expansion joint. That's what silicone is. The silicone is actually not there to keep everything dry, to keep water from getting in behind. The silicone is there as an expansion joint to make it look pretty. Really. So if you are comfortable with your silicone work, or you know how to use backer rod, okay, that little round foam tube, and you can fill gaps with it and then caulk over top, thin layer. If you're comfortable with that, then you don't have to worry about it. But a lot of DIY people, it's easier just to fill everything with grout and then silicone over top of it, okay? And it still works really well in most situations. So that's how I do a lot of my work. I don't get too worked up over grout. I just go and then I'm adding silicone anyway. So your expansion joint can be on top of the grout, but industry standards and the TCNA, National Association, the tile, whatever, those folks, they'd rather you not put anything in that gap and then just use backer rod and silicone. But I would say whatever you're going to get the best result with as far as aesthetically is going to be the one that's worked for you. So just go ahead and do it. Next, Mark Bernier just sent us a super chat without a question. Okay. Can I give a best time of year for renos? Yes. Whenever it's comfortable to be hauling things in and out of the house. Basements are great in the winter, right? Get all your materials delivered. It's one day, it's messy, you clean up, you're good, right? Bathrooms, any time of the year is fine, but you've got a lot of stuff to remove. And so the winter can be a real pain, period. But if you want to do a big project, the wintertime is great. Do all the demo in the fall, and then you can do all the interior finishing through the winter. But having a staging area in bad weather is just a huge must, right? You need to have room to have all your stuff. Got to have your stuff on site. And especially this year, guys, seriously, this year, 2021, do not expect a normal supply chain for all of the things you need. It's going to be weird. I am anticipating an absolute disaster in supply chain. So make sure before you start your project, you know exactly what you're buying. You've got the specs. You know you got an expected order delivery date. And you might want to buy it now because they're going to say it'll be there in 8 to 10 weeks instead of 6 to 10 days. Things are going to be weird. So you've really got to organize. But the best time to renovate is whenever you've got time to do it, really is the best answer. And this year, there's going to be a lot of people with a lot of time. So let's get dirty. We just got to be smart about your project. Make sure you can finish it. Right? All right. Darius, question. I have joists that are 10 inches apart. What size of insulation do you suggest? Doesn't matter. You're cutting it. So the way you deal with that is instead of taking a 4-foot long piece of insulation and cutting it 10 inches wide and having garbage that you throw out, just cut the joist 16 inches by 10, right? And put in smaller blocks. So you'll have more joints, but you'll use all of the insulation in the bag. That's the best information I got for you. All right. It's a plywood floor. Yeah, that's great. That's perfect. Good. Nothing wrong with that at all. Just make sure it's screwed down, not just nailed. Okay. Subfloors need to be screwed or they make noise at some point in their history. And that's when you've got flooring on it. And that's the wrong time for noise because you can't fix it without ripping your floor up. Yeah, the TCNA. Sometimes I go into these 2-hour shows and my brain just stops working, right? So sorry, I don't want to offend the Tile Association. We have a different acronym up here in Canada. It's all basically the same thing. And, like in anything in this world, there are masters at what they do. And generally speaking, I'm not teaching tile work at a master level. All right. I'm somewhere in between new home construction and what you can expect from a majority of contractors. But the master tilers are very specific in what they do, and you pay for them. And so the reason we started this channel is because most of you can't afford them. And it's not a dig. I'm just being honest. Like a really good craftsman, forget about it. They're few and far between, and they charge top dollar. And, that's just the bottom line. You can make all the rules you want in society, but people can't afford to follow them. They're going to do something else, right? Here we go. I'm going to start ranting if we're not careful. Jeff, what do you think about the open concept on the master bathroom? Is the market appreciate these kinds of improvements? Well, if you mean that there's no wall between the bedroom and the bathroom, I'm going to say that that's a little bit, forward thinking. But having a large open concept bathroom is great. I mean, it's not too often you'll see an actual, water closet for the toilet anymore, if that's even a phrase people use. We do around here, but yeah. Open concept master bathroom. The market loves master bathrooms, and here's why. Most people can afford precious few luxuries in life. So having a space that you can retreat to, pour yourself a glass of wine, light a few candles, and just chill out in a steam shower or have a nice hot bubbly tub or something. There's always a huge market for that, okay? Because we need to decompress. I find that most people in society, we live right at the top of that I'm just about to kill somebody's stress level. And it's not a healthy place to live. So you got to find a way to decompress, whether it's throwing the punching bag out in the garage or having a nice little bubble bath. You know, like I love a good bath. I'm a big fan of bubbles. There, I said it. So, you know, man, it's okay to tub too. All right. There we go. Let's go on to next question. What do we got, Maddie? You know, hang on a second. Let's deal with Rhonda's question there. Yeah. I know, Rhonda, I know you're not a member. You didn't super chat, but that is a really good question. And I'm going to answer it. Rhonda says, back up a little bit, please. There you go. Rhonda says, when our washer drains, the toilet bubbles. What could be going on? What's happening there, Rhonda, is the washer is draining, and in that drain system for the washer, there's no fresh air. There's no venting. Somebody forgot to connect a pipe. And so the plumbing system that's close to it, which is apparently your toilet, gets a vacuum in that pipe. And the vacuum gets satisfied by a big gush of air blowing through the water in the toilet, and that's what that disturbance is. Okay? You've got a vacuum going on because you don't have water where your washer pipe is. So it might be the age of the home. A lot of times they used to have the washer drain into a laundry basin, and then it would slowly drain down, and it'd be a side by side. And so there was an air source next to the water source. And so everything would have no problem. But if they just changed that, got rid of the sink, put the pipe up and dropped in the washer hose, and it's sealed off, there's no air pulling in, you're in trouble. So you're creating a vacuum, and you could run into an issue where you pull so much water out of that toilet that the sewer gas comes into the room. So that's nasty. Take a look at maybe installing a laundry sink and draining into the sink and not directly into a pipe. That is a great way to fix that. Okay. Helen, looking to install a soaking tub and shower separately, like what you see in Japan. Slab floor, have one drain. Can I have the tub water drain into the shower, or will it be two drains? Yeah, your tub has got to have its own drain. Now, you can do like a wet room, right? So that if it overflows, it all goes and slopes into one drain. That's definitely doable. But tubs do need to have their own drain. It's just too much water in a short period of time to trust any kind of waterproofing system to be able to withstand that, right? So we keep it in the pipe. All right. Randy wants to know, he's got grout on his kitchen floor. It's been coming out for a while. What's the steps to regrouting a tile kitchen floor? Okay, Randy, honestly, if that's going on, that means your floor has got deflection, okay? Deflection means the tile moves and it causes pinching and the grout pops out. The only way to solve that problem, well, there's two. Rip up the whole floor and start over again and do it right. Or you can regrout the floor with an epoxy floor grout. You could even use the ultra color unsanded grout, and that has got a lot of chemical technology in there that bonds a lot better and is less likely to break out, because usually the grout that's breaking out is a sanded grout, okay? And if you go to a more chemical-based situation, it won't break out as easy. It has a better bond. It can buy you time, but your floor is still faulty. So that's just something you're going to have to live with. And it can take 10, 15 years before all the grout pops out. You can just clean it up and grout it again and buy another 10 years if you want. But the more the deflection, the longer the time, the worse the deflection gets, because things get weak when they keep moving. Okay, so it's just going to gradually get worse and worse and worse. So it may or may not be salvageable even. It's hard to say, but you can give it a try. Regrouting. Cheers. Ryan wants to know, can you describe the process of covering an imperfect, small cracks, waviness, plaster ceiling with drywall? Okay. Yeah. So if you've got a plaster ceiling with drywall and you've got waves and cracks, it generally means this. There was a time in construction where they used to put up 16-inch by 4-foot panels of drywall. Okay. And they'd install it like a tile, like offset. And they'd do all the ceiling and walls. And they would use that as the backer. And then someone would come along and they would just apply a thin coat of plaster to finish. So the joints weren't taped and all that's going on. Now, plaster generally bonds better than drywall compound, and so it resists all the cracking. But over time, in a lot of those houses, they didn't have air conditioning back when they did that. And so houses without air conditioning would have swings in temperature. And so over the years, the plaster would fail to a degree where you'd start to see the effects of the moisture in the house. You get little scallop ceilings and little hairline cracks everywhere. And depending on how the light shines, it can look really horrible. The only thing you can do to fix all that, well, there's two. You can actually go to a professional drywall store and you can get like a great big roll of mesh, okay? And you can apply it into a fresh bed of drywall compound and skim coat the whole thing. That's generally only used with plaster to save heritage homes. The best way to fix that is just rip all that crap off and start over and put new drywall on. Everything else is prepped and ready to go, right? You got 16 on center wood, you're good to go. Just pull all that off and put up a couple of sheets of new drywall. Or learn to live with it. Like, apply some wallpaper with texture and it won't bother you so much. But that's pretty much what's going on with that. There was a huge time between the 20s and the 70s where there was a ton of experimentation going on with materials and processes. And so there's a lot of stuff out there that just doesn't work. You go into an older home and everything worked fine. But then after 1920 to 1970, there's like a wild west of construction technology. And blending of systems is where you run into problems. So, oh, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. I'll put both of them together. Oh, it fails. And big surprise, right? But it takes time before the failure happens and we realize it's not a good move. So that's why we kind of leveled things out in the 80s a little bit more and got more standard. And now we're moving to best practices where we're just so brilliant nowadays. We can't help but invent new ideas of way to spend money to gain minor amounts of efficiency. Anyway, Alex wants to know, he wants you to shut up and probably get back to answering questions. He wants to know if he's got any experience having those carbide chain augers cleaning out a cast iron drain line. Had his cleaned out after a clog. Okay. Carbide chain auger. Wow, that sounds really intense. I'm a little bit hesitant with the cast iron drains, putting in like things like that. But, if it's got to be cleaned, it's got to be cleaned. Like at the end of the day, a lot of the cast iron drain lines, the venting was so poor. The slope was poor, the plumbing systems and everything was very 90 degrees back then, right? You had a pipe and at 90 it came off and the pipe was threaded in. The pipe was so rigid. It was perfectly level and horizontal. So there's really bad slopes. So the plumbing had a lot of issues. Anything horizontal just clogged up like crazy. But yeah, I mean, our augers work. If you're not going to open your wall and change your plumbing, it can work. They can also expose new damage to your drain system, and you can be in a lot of trouble. But wow, if it worked for you, power to you, man. That's awesome. All right. What about a Stella? I'm going to be honest with you. I pretty much don't drink beer anymore. I think I drank enough, So I'm trying to cut down because I want my six-pack back. So one step at a time. So I stopped drinking beer, and maybe someday I'll start doing sit-ups again. We'll see. Carlos wants to know, he's replaced the shower surround, but not the fixtures. And after the fact, no new shower handles will fit the original shower valves. Oh, nuts. Okay. So what are your options? All right. There are options, Carlos. there's what we call a renovation trim kit. All right. And it is a large plate so that you open up the back of the wall where the plumbing is, and you pull it out and you put in something new. And you put in this large plate to cover up the old fixtures. And in the middle of it, your new trim kit plate will fit on top and seal it all up. It's a little ugly, but you'll see it in older hotels a lot. Wow. Is it like you had one of those old, like, 2-handle things, right? And you can't find replacement parts? You know, Carlos, if you try, I don't know where you live, dude. If you're in Canada, try going to Wolseley Mechanical, Wolseley. And if you're in the States, go to Ferguson. Bring a picture, okay? Or even better, turn the water in the house off and then open up the handle, the valve, and you pull the valve out. And on those valve cartridges, there'll be a code. Every shower plumbing valve in the world has got a code on the cartridge itself. And that code is attached to all the information about manufacturer and replacement parts and who sells them. Give that a shot, okay? Because just going to ask a local hardware store, hey, do you got this? No, of course not, because the plumbing department would be the size of the store. There's thousands of replacement parts out there. But if you try just opening up the shower cartridge handle and look for the code, unless it's super old and they don't have codes, but I'm pretty sure everything does. I haven't seen one that doesn't yet. I could be wrong, but I think that's worth a shot. You can do a Google search for the shower cartridge code and see if you can marry that together somewhere. All right. So Mark Bernier has sent us a little love in the tip jar. That's awesome. Dave's got a question. South Indiana, cinder block home. See, now that's a question. Flash and bat, good idea. Any other vapor barrier needed? Okay, South Indiana, you still get winter. It may sound like a good idea, and if your building code allows you to do it, I probably wouldn't be too concerned, especially with the trend in the temperatures getting a little warmer, right? Like, I mean, it's different now than it was 20 years ago, isn't it? Like in Ottawa, forget about it. Winter was almost unbearable. Now it's getting so mild up here, we're kind of like, hey, it's not so bad, you know? And I grew up south of Toronto, and we used to have 3-4 feet of snow every year. And now Toronto, I mean, if they get snow, it's almost a miracle. I would say flash and bat is a great idea. Use a closed cell spray foam, and you have a vapor barrier. And then you can put the bat in front of it. Not a real big issue. There's still a lot of debate on the market about that whole system. But it gives you an air seal, it gives you a vapor seal, and allows you to fill the void with the bat insulation, and then you can close up. So if you are okay with that as far as your building code is concerned, then go ahead with it. But I do not like to give advice that contradicts building code. So be careful, because every state's got a different feel because they're all in different zones. And so there is no such thing as one rule fits everywhere. But I do like the idea in theory, okay, if that helps. Okay, Matt, next. Are we up to speed?
No, we're just flying through.
We're just flying through. We're a little far behind. Okay. Keith Durr. What should I use as a shower ceiling with a rain shower head? Curdy or drywall? Okay, you got Schluter Curdy on the board on the walls. Yeah, great question. A lot of people have got this question. If you have a shower and you tile up to the ceiling, and your ceiling should be a water-resistant, mold-resistant drywall, for the fact that you're going to have some steam. You should also be using a bathroom paint with 100% acrylic in the mix. And that's like another layer of waterproofing for the ceiling. You should also have a bathroom extraction fan, right? And you should have the last foot above the door open so that the steam can leave and be pulled over to the fan and evacuated out of the building. And generally speaking, a fan should be powerful enough that it can empty out the whole room moisture within 5 minutes. So you don't need to do anything really crazy on your ceiling as much as you need to have that extraction. Now, if you don't have a fan, Consider tiling the ceiling. Consider using the Schluter board, right? Because then the steam can build up and it can drip and it's not going to cause you an issue. But if you have a decent fan or you're planning to put one in as part of your renovation, don't be too concerning yourself. I like the look of having one flat ceiling right into the shower, throw in a pot light or two, but use the blue drywall, okay? And you'll have a great result. It'll last 40, 50 years without any consideration, all right? So don't worry about it. But just, you need to manage the house. If people are going to use that bathroom without using the fan, you're in trouble. So sometimes the best plan is to put the fan on the same switch as the light, because people will always have a light on when they shower. Well, I'm not going to say always, but generally speaking, that's a safer bet. Okay? Rad Design. You just joined the membership program tonight, and you got a question. 1968 Kentucky raised ranch home. I didn't know they raised homes down there, but that's pretty cool. Do you think there will be vapor barrier under the concrete floor? Not a chance. Okay, could we just polish the concrete or lay tile? You can always lay tile. The thing is that you got to deal with is moisture transfer brings salts from the concrete and from the ground underneath. So when you tile, you have grout and salt discolors. There'll always be variation. So the way you deal with that is on top of your concrete, you put a membrane. Now, it doesn't have to be a Schluter membrane. There's lots of membranes out there. You put thin set, you roll out your membrane, okay? And you create a barrier for the moisture so that you're not transferring moisture from the concrete and the ground through the tile. That's where you get your vapor barrier. And it's a great way to finish a basement is to just tile the floor with a vapor barrier or / membrane on the ground. And that'll solve all your problems for your discoloration. It's also an uncoupling membrane. If anything ever cracks in the future, it won't translate through the tile, and it protects your tile job. It also gives you the ability to throw in some electric in-floor heating. So consider that because, basements can be a little bit cold, and it's nice to have a little bit of heat. Okay. Here we go. Let's go to the next question. Where are we going, Matt? James Headley. What layers should I make sure I have under my vinyl floor before installing subfloor? Plywood layer, underpad, vinyl, is that it? Okay, so I'm assuming you're talking about a vinyl plank installation. So most floors have got an OSB or oriented strand chipboard, okay, with lots of glue, and it's a very good quality subfloor. And you want to have that screwed before you put in your floor. And then that's all that you need. And then you just put down the dense mat that is sound absorbing for impact noise. That's it. Nice and simple. And then put on your vinyl. You don't have to overcomplicate it. It doesn't take an extra layer of plywood or anything like that. Okay? You'll be just fine. So glue down your subfloor, add your nice underlay, and you'll be good. You'll be very successful and happy. Cheers, Kyle. Appreciate the tip there.
Got 2 minutes left here until the 2-hour mark.
Wow. Can you believe it's already 8 o'clock? All right. Keith has a 150 CFM fan. We were talking about that ceiling. Yeah, you're laughing, dude. That 150 CFM is good for a 4-piece bath if you have extra seating. Lots of room, right? No worries. Okay. Okay, let's deal with this. We've got a super chat here. We got somebody had a bathroom project and they got the wrong tiles were delivered and installed. Wow. Drywall, no cement board. Is drywall strong enough for tile on tile? Normal 16-inch stud spacing. That is like the world's most brilliant question. There are 2 things that we worry about with tile on a wall. One is it too much weight? Now, if you're building your tile from the floor, then most of the weight of that tile when you're building it is on the floor. And so it becomes its own structural load point. Okay? And that's not an issue. But what you do have to concern yourself with is in some areas, you're in earthquake zones. Okay? And that kind of vibration, you ever watch me take drywall off the wall and I pop my hammer in there and I just give it a shake? And it just pops right off all the screws. So that's the concern with that kind of a backer is it in an earthquake area? Okay, so really got to consider, check your local code, because you might not have a strong enough wall to tile on tile over top of it. And honestly, if it was my house and that happened, I had the wrong product and the wrong kind of wall, I would just rip it off and put the right cement board on, because the only expense is a trip to the dump and a few sheets of cement board, and I'd want to start fresh, just to be honest. Because at 8 feet tall, that's a lot of weight, 2 layers of tile, right? Like that could actually kill you. So I would say bad idea. All right. We don't do it around fireplaces without cement board. I wouldn't do it in a bathroom either. It's just too much. Okay, guys. I'm going to go a little long tonight, another 10 minutes. Okay. So if you got some questions, let's just get current. And we're going to take current questions only the next 10 minutes. We'll try to do them real quick. How much is it to get a real consultation guidance? I don't offer consultation services. I just answer questions about my videos. So yeah, $25,000 for a bathroom is a very standard price, and that doesn't include any bells or whistles. So if you're a newbie and you've never DIY'd before, you might be getting in over your head. Austin, is drywall plus a foot of tile for a bath only backsplash? Yeah, if you're only putting a little bit, like an accent tile, then drywall's fine. Michael just bought a bungalow. It has 2 bathrooms. However, the basement bathroom has only 1 sink and toilet. Would it be hard to add a shower? In a basement, usually not hard at all. You can just open up a wall and build a shower right there beside it and bring all of your mechanical and everything from the ceiling down into it. The only thing is with your drain. So if you buy a shower pan from SaniFlow, they actually have a shower pan. The drain comes out vertical, and then you can have a small little pump to pump it up and catch your system somewhere else in the house. So that's a great way. Go check out SaniFlow. It'll broaden your concept of what your options are, and you don't have to start ripping apart concrete stuff. It works out really great. Okay, got to stay current. Tina, investment prop, 20s home, crappy small bathroom. We just rent a bathroom, turn over, replace everything. No need to check plumbing, electrical, or should we regardless? Okay, anything from the 20s needs to be inspected and most likely replaced. Just saying, we're at a 100-year cycle. Nobody expected it to last that long in the first place. I wouldn't renovate in front of it and leave all that old stuff in behind it. Okay, I think that's bad investment. If you're going to open up the walls and you got 1920s everything, just modernize it. That's my really quick, simple version there. Next thing, keep going to the bottom, bud. It's like lightning round. Okay, only new questions getting asked. Sir Big Belly, good night all. Jeff, I love your show, brother. Oh, since I avoid your questions, I'll be deleting my subscription. Oh, yeah. Well, maybe you notice that we can't get to them all, but you can always put them in the forum. All right, I'll be in there tomorrow to check it out, and that's fine. It's not for everybody. You can always go and ask the guys with the orange aprons how to help fix your house. I'm sure you'll be in good hands. Okay. Everyone's just basically saying goodnight. You're all so cute. Thank you so much. Well, if no one's going to ask any more newer questions, that's fine. There's James got one more. Bedroom closet has a dividing wall in the middle. Any chance it's load bearing, or could it removed to make it bigger closet? Any chance that a 2-foot wall in the middle of a closet is load bearing? I'm going to go out on a limb and say not bloody likely, but the way to find out is take your Sawzall and cut the stud right through the middle. And if it ends up pinching and you can't cut any further, it means it's carrying load. All right? And then you can stop what you're doing and then fix your stud and move on with your day. All right. Cheers, guys. It's been fun. We'll do this again next week. I'm going to have to put out a community post and ask your opinion on what we should talk about. There's so many things we can talk about. It's amazing. We never got into a lot of stuff tonight, like bathroom vanities, right? We have floating. We've got ones with feet, exposed walls, closed cabinets, custom builds, ones that are designed to be in an alcove or just on an open wall. There's so many different things that are problems that are needing to be solved. Maybe we'll have to do another week of bathroom, and then Sir Big Belly will have an opportunity to get into the questions, and we'll keep a special eye out for you. Not here to try to piss you guys off, but if it happens, sorry, I am human after all. All right, cheers. What do we got coming up this week? Oh, for everybody who's interested, the Saturday night video is going to be about the shed. More of a workshop. It's a monster project. We're doing a huge 1 hour and change video covering all of the differences and the nuances between the shed build and doing a bigger building. And so hopefully it'll be helpful for you to realize that just because it's big doesn't mean it can't be tackled just by you and maybe a neighbor. And so it's totally doable. All right. Thanks for coming to join us tonight. We will see you in the next one. Cheers.